Narrative and storytelling have been cornerstones of our work for more than 20 years. Time and again, we've been shown how creating, hearing, and reflecting on each other's stories offers rich opportunities for learning. Taking narrative and story seriously can help us make sense of our own lives, increase empathy and understanding of others, strengthen relationships within organisations, and build bridges where differences exist. These are just some of the issues we aim to explore during the Narrative and Storytelling workshop.
Each time I come along, there's a story or a conversation that helps my own thinking, in particular, and lead into today's session around storytelling and how we can do a better job of articulating the wide range of benefits that we know to be true about sport and physical activity. I think what we're really good at is telling ourselves a story, but what we're not very good at is telling other stakeholders and people outside of our immediate team and outside of our institution how impactful and life-changing sport and physical activity is. So today is a great example, an opportunity for me to take some time to reflect on the work that we do and take that back to our management team.
My work involves trying to capture the experiences of people as to why they engage in physical activity and how we can support them with being more physically active in their communities, which has led me to coming to this narrative storytelling event today.
Especially was for me, I'm working within communities. A great way to build trust and relationships with these people is to start off with story sharing, storytelling.
Why I'm here today, I'm recently asked to be a paid public involvement member on the Active Lives HIT. It's been a very powerful start to my week. People have been very honest, and that's amazing that they felt like doing that in a room full of strangers. So thank you so much to the facilitators you clearly made us feel like we can do that.
When it comes to the impact of the work that we do and why we do it, the narrative session has just been incredible. When looking at first memories or early memories, one of my first was actually focused on the time that my brother and I were followed by and accused by police of trying to break into our own house, and being of primary school age when that happened. And that a lot of people that I know who are in particular black and mixed race men have had that experience from a very young age. Mine was around sort of between 7 and 9. It's not an experience that everyone has, and I felt comfortable sharing that.
When was the last time I actually sat down and wrote something like that? But in my work, quite often I'm trying to convey to people what it is that we need, and actually probably stories are the best way to do that.
I was hearing from someone who I'd made a bit of an assumption from something he'd said earlier about going into the Somali Resource Centre, and he was a white man and he was saying he wasn't given very much time, and I was thinking, do you not realise how beleaguered and a tiny organisation is like that when people want the BAME perspective? And then I've heard a bit more about his story about why he does the healthy weight work, and I thought I made such an assumption about him. Stop doing that. So thank you.
Being able to actually speak candidly about, no, this is actually my experience, I think has really helped me to not feel like I'm hiding away some of the issues that do continue to exist in society, and also things that could be impacting some of the communities that we do serve.
For me to kind of come into this space and think about that was quite useful, and so that's already, I suppose, on my thinking about. I know I've got a report to write about the impact of youth and play services, and so I'm thinking about how can I make that more story-like rather than cold hard facts, I suppose.
I think a problem is that we don't capture the voice, and instead we capture things like metrics and scales. I see value in both, so the idea being that I want to understand how can we use narrative storytelling alongside maybe other methods like quantitative methods, so that we can gain a better and fuller picture of how people experience physical activity and how we can help support them in the future.
I don't really know how I found out about this network, but I'm glad I did, because I thought that's something that I need to be on, and so I literally kind of like gate crashed it really.
It helps me get a real understanding of the landscape within Bristol, the organisations, who's doing what, and also the ways in which we can work together and collaborate.
It's amazing, there's just so many people here with different backgrounds, and so in terms of connections it's been really useful for me, and I've made some good links.
The richness of this has actually been the connections we've made, and just hearing from the wide variety of partners who are involved in physical activity, and also how broad a concept that is.
For me it's really interesting. I quite often don't get time to stop and reflect on stuff, so to have nearly a whole day to sit down, make these connections, think about things is rare for me. So I really like that as an opportunity, and this network meets more frequently than a lot of the other work things that I do, and so it's not a luxury, but it does feel it's like, oh my word, that's quite extravagant. And then so I've not been able to come to all of them, and then there's a little bit of me that's like, oh, I wish I'd gone to that, because actually, so you feel like to a certain extent you're missing out a little bit on an opportunity to continue to develop those relationships.
An opportunity there to learn how politics and policy works, to try and promote physical activity at a more regional level, which I think will be useful going forward. So yeah, there's definitely people that I've met here in as well.
So I think BACN has been really, really helpful for that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of meeting more people and to continue as well. And like I said, stay active and be active. Yeah. Cheers.